Chastain Park, I mean, our IT department doesn't want us using Chastain Park. So that's why we're going to have to park a.
Okay, we're getting ready to go live.
Okay.
We are. Who's managing the meeting? There she is.
He's here.
Mary Carol is muted. It's that little red thing that goes across here.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, are we live?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
We are. This meeting is called to order. It is a special meeting of August 21st, 2020 of the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections. I'm Mary Carol Cooney, chairperson, and I'm joined this morning by my vice chairperson, Vernetta Keith Newridden, Mr. Mark Wingate, Mr. Aaron Johnson, and Dr. Kathleen Ruth. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by reminding us, or reminding the public, that this meeting is teleconference pursuant to section 50-14-1G of the official code of Georgia because of the public health state of emergency declared by Governor Kemp on March 14th, 2020, and renewed most recently on July 31st, concerning public gatherings and affecting public meetings in state and local government spaces due to COVID-19, and because means have been afforded for the public to have simultaneous access to this teleconference. Ladies and gentlemen, you have in front of you an agenda. I'm going to ask you to take a look at it and tell me if there are any additions or corrections, in addition to which I think it would be useful for us to go into executive session. And I am going to ask if one of my colleagues who can do so will make a motion to, actually, that's right, we don't even have to do that. We'll just do that automatically. So take a look at the agenda as it is. We don't have to move that executive session to the front of the agenda. And I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve today's agenda.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the agenda presented. All in favor, raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that is unanimous. We have our agenda. Item number 2 is communications and responses from the public. Ms. Bodison, do we have any of the members of the public who have stated they want to be heard?
Yes, ma'am. We have Aileen Nakamura.
All right, Ms. Nakamura, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can. If you would speak up a little more, we'd hear you even better.
Good morning. My comment is about absentee ballots. First, the need to make applications accessible for all voters given the pandemic. Second, the need to ensure the absentee ballots get sent out in a timely fashion. And third, the need to make it easy for every voter to know their absentee ballots are received. So first, please send out absentee ballot applications to every active voter, just as the Secretary of State correctly did for the June 9th election. There's no excuse for not doing so when we know this will be the largest election in our history. Many voters assume that because they received an application in the mail for June, they'll be receiving another one in the mail for November. While I applaud Fulton's initiative to develop the email portal, let's make the portal truly useful by making it easy for people to send in their absentee ballots so we don't have to rely on the Postal Service. Second, we have 3 voters in my house: my husband, my 20-year-old attending college virtually, and myself. For the June and August elections, all 3 of us sent in absentee ballot applications on the same dates. But for both elections, only my husband received an absentee ballot. I'm sorry?
James Reese.
Oh, my daughters and my voter pages said our ballots were issued for June and August, but to this day, we have not received them. And my husband's August ballot, it arrived 3 days after the election. Fulton County has to do better to make sure that absentee ballots actually get sent out and in a timely manner. Third, it's more important than ever not to have to rely on the Postal Service. Coalition for Good Governance has repeatedly asked that voters be able to deliver their ballots to polling places by designating an absentee ballot clerk at every polling place and have a ballot box for dropping in the ballots. Some counties already do this. If the SOS says there are legal problems with this, then as the largest county, please be a leader and ask the state election board to make an emergency rule to make it mandatory for counties to accept absentee ballots at all polling places, including early voting. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nakamura. Ms. Bodison, anyone else wishing to be heard?
Yes, I have Jake Panfill.
Yes, sir. Can you join us?
He's with Vote at Home.
Oh,
All right, and so I assume he does not wish to speak. Ms. Bodison, anyone else?
Rhonda Martin.
Ms. Rhonda Martin, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes, ma'am.
can, but if you would speak up just a
Okay.
little bit, we'd hear you better.
Okay. My name is
Better.
Rhonda Martin. I am a Fulton County voter and a board member of the Coalition for Good Governance. This year with COVID, I know many people are having problems keeping track of the days, weeks, and months. For me, I am very hopeful that Christmas will come in November. In that spirit, please let me tell you what I'm hoping to receive. The first gift I want for me and all Georgia voters is an efficient portal to use to request my absentee ballot. Second, I want drop boxes distributed throughout the state in obvious and convenient locations. With all of the concerns about the USPS, drop boxes are going to be more important than ever. Unfortunately, there is a lot of confusion about drop boxes. When discussing concerns about this recently with friends, many seem to think that drop boxes were available at their polling places. It only makes sense, right? This underscores the importance of accepting absentee ballots in the usual places that people go to vote. They don't want to stand in line. They've done their homework. Let's let them turn it in and get credit in the easiest possible way. The third gift I want is for the scanners to be configured to reliably count every vote that a human would count. Technology should support our efforts, not subvert them. And during adjudication, vote review panels should be encouraged to consult the original paper ballots whenever the ballot images seem unusual. For instance, when it appears that a voter has cast an entirely blank ballot. What's that about? Vote review panels should feel comfortable investigating these issues. Finally, when ballots are being hand duplicated, I want the election laws and rules of Georgia to be followed. I want duplicate ballots to be marked as such and labeled so that the originals can be referenced when conducting audits. This is not the current practice in Fulton County. I hope you all are feeling generous and will do all you can to make my dreams come true for this next election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Ms. Bodison?
Lee Guthrie. Lee Guthrie. Mr. Guthrie?
What is that last name? If you can read it.
Guthrie? Mr. Guthrie?
Mr. Guthrie.
Yes.
All right, if we can ask again for him, if there is anyone else that we can hear in the meantime.
No, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
Mr. Guthrie? All right, I do not hear him. Then I assume that we have completed item 2 on our agenda. Item 3 on our agenda is an overview of the August 11th general primary, nonpartisan and special runoff election. Mr. Barron.
Can you put up the results, please, on the page? I think it's Rico. Is that going up? There we go. So we had 102,006 ballots cast. Is there any way, Rico, you can make that larger? I think it's, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can put on my glasses. 102,006 ballots were cast. Oh, thank you. And scroll down, please. All the way to the judges race, preferably, because that is the race that has all of the judicial race. Okay. So we had the total number of election or early votes was 33,077. We had 38,278 vote for election day. We had 25,519 vote absentee, 781 vote provisional. And then there were also 4,000, well, election day had undervotes of 1,831, 1,581 for absent or early votes, absentee by mail, 884, and 51 for provisional in that race. This is the one, because of the way we have dual primaries, if you add up the total votes in the judicial race with the undervotes and the overvotes, you get the 1,000. I think it's the 102,066 total votes for this election. We made some, I will heard Aileen Nakamura's statement, and I've already asked Ralph to look into her ballots. I mean, we did definitely after July 20th with regard to the email ballots, once we put a standard in place of JPEGs and PDFs, and also only allowing one attachment per email, the performance on processing absentee by mail applications went way up. We did process, we ended up accepting more absentee by mail ballots this election than we did, or I think they were almost as many as the presidential for 2016. So you can see that the landscape has changed dramatically when it comes to absentee by mail. And I've gone over, in the last two meetings, we went over and we did an overview. So does the board have any questions? I know that we also had, we rejected, or there were 1,004 absentee ballots that weren't counted. 474 were rejected for no signature, and 530 came late after the election.
All right, does that conclude your report, Mr. Barron?
Yes.
Questions or comments from the board? I hear none, and therefore, item number 3, the overview of the election on August 11th is concluded. And that brings us actually to the heart of this meeting, which is a certification of the election results. It is my understanding that in a sense, there were 2 categories of election that were voted on during August 11th and early voting. One being a Democratic primary and one runoff, and the other being a nonpartisan runoff election. And for those, each of us should have the 50 pages of all of those results precinct by precinct.
Wow. Hold on, sorry.
Pardon?
Oh, sorry, Mary.
And I am going to ask Mr. Barron if the statement of votes cast that I'm holding in my hand, and that was sent to me very recently, indicates a true and correct count of all votes that were cast and counted in this general primary, nonpartisan, and special runoff election.
Yes, those are true and correct.
All right. And board members understand that this covers both the Democratic and the nonpartisan runoff election, and that there were no Republicans who were in this particular runoff. Having said so, any questions or comments? And hearing none, I will entertain a motion to certify those election results.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to certify the election results of the August 11th, 2020 general primary, both Democratic and nonpartisan runoff elections. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ms. Newridden, are you abstaining?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That will conclude item number 4 on our agenda. Item number 5 is approval of early voting locations for the September 29th special election to fill the unexpired term for the 5th Congressional District. Mr. Barron.
Can you please put that up on the screen? Or
We had it and then it disappeared.
it's the wrong one. Putting up the early voting sites for September.
Well, putting up, the early voting sites,
I
which is
can't even,
different from the agenda.
What's on the, can you put up the agenda item, please? Or the agenda? Okay, we're on number 5, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so I asked for the early voting locations to be put up for September 29th.
All right, are you asking us to approve these locations today?
Oh, yeah, but I wanted it up on the screen, just so I could at least discuss them in case there's, we have 6 locations for the Congressional District 5 election. Does Rico have that?
No, but they're listed on the agenda.
Okay. Oh, okay. Put up the agenda is so small on the screen. I can barely read it. So we've got Buckhead Library, CT Martin, College Park, Metropolitan Library, Northwest Branch at Scotts Crossing, and Ponce Library. And those are the 6 for the Congressional District 5 election for September 29th. So I'm asking the board to approve those.
Are there any questions or comments about these? Mr. Johnson.
Excuse me. Good morning, Mr. Director. I'm looking at the list of the locations, and it seems like the southwest quadrant of the district, there's nothing there, like around East Point, Camp Creek. Are you going to be using, I see a couple of spots in the map. Are you going to be using the mobile voting unit during this time period?
We will not have that then. It's possible we might get one, but it would, if it comes, it's going to be during the early voting period. The second bus, the mobile voting precinct, one's going to arrive in October, the week before, early voting, and the other one is ahead of schedule. We don't have a firm delivery date on it. But Sharon, are you on?
I am.
From the map, the 6 locations that we chose, other than State Farm and I think Southeast, the Louise Watley Library, those are the only 2 other locations that were available in that we usually use, correct?
Correct. And the ones that you chose, the 6, they are in CD5.
If,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Johnson. If I may ask a question, do you or the staff have any notion of what the turnout is going to be for this election?
We don't. Ralph, I think Ralph, how many ballots have you mailed out for this election? Do you have that figure? I know it was 50 a couple days ago, but the number of, there is no rollover for this election.
There's a rollover, Rick. There are rollovers for it. We mailed out.
Yeah, but well, I mean, there isn't a legal requirement to mail any rollover ballots for special elections.
Only the military.
Yeah.
And there were 74 of those ballots that were mailed out, and we have 57 of the ones that have come in as of right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be hard to judge the turnout for this election. There are 7 candidates, and there is likely to be a runoff on December 1st. And then I think that the candidate that wins serves until the end of the year, and then is replaced by Senator Williams for the 2-year term.
I raised the question because I'm looking at the Buckhead Library and what a small space it is, and wondering about State Farm Arena or any place.
Yeah, they were uninterested in serving for this election.
Okay.
They have there's some other things going on in there right now.
And Rick, what's the problem with Chastain again? I know before there was hardware issues.
Yeah, the city of Atlanta doesn't run that. I think it's a contractor, and our IT department does not recommend using the internet there. It's a security issue.
Okay.
All right.
One last question.
Sure.
So Southwest Library and or Lowry or any of the other ones in that area, none of those were available?
Is that the Louise Watley Library?
No, the Evelyn Lowry Library.
Is that the one on Cascade?
Yes.
Sharon, do you know? I mean, it should be available if it's in the district.
Yes.
All the
I'm just
libraries
looking at the
are
map,
available.
and it's that side of the district seems to be very, and of course I'm looking down south. You go from College Park down by the airport all the way up to the CT Martin, and and correct me if I'm wrong, there's nothing in between that area. I agree it's going to be a light turnout. I don't disagree with that. But even if you did it's kind of like right in the middle of CT Martin and College Park.
And we're open to amending it.
It is available.
Director Barron.
Yes.
And it's closer to where Congressman Lewis used to live. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries.
And I was just thinking it's, 5 minutes from his house.
Is,
Okay,
is that a motion to amend this, which just puts it on the floor for discussion?
Yes.
I have a quick question, Director Barron.
Wait.
I mean, it's addressing this particular point. Maybe I wanted to hear his rationale for his listing, because it might be purposeful to see why this few number of polls were presented, or was it just, are you working from a plan, or?
we didn't, I mean, we didn't think that the turnout was going to be particularly heavy, and we thought that 6 locations with regard to, but I mean, it was partially budgetary reasons. I mean, that would be the most, and we'd had discussions, and 6 seemed like a good number for that to consider for that that area, for what we think that the turnout isn't going to be particularly heavy.
Do you think you could do possibly one of the I forget the term.
Outreach, like an outreach.
An outreach, like at one of the libraries?
Yes.
Is that possible, Sharon?
Yes. In addition, Rick, you did mention that you wanted the EV location that was actually in CD5, because everyone who's voting has to be in Commission District 5.
Right.
I think that's the reason why you went with the 6. But yes, I can also add Gladys Denard if you want me to, or Evelyn Laurie.
That one is in 5 as well, right?
No, Evelyn Laurie is not in CD5.
Evelyn Laurie is not in Congressional District 5.
It is. Well, if not, it's only because it's a slither.
Yeah, it's a slender. You're right, Ms. Norton.
Yeah, I mean, the map.
Okay, well, I'll withdraw then. Just
the map that I was given had those 6 sites in State Farm for the, and when we approach State Farm, they want to concentrate on November. So,
well, I get that. I understand it. Okay, well.
Okay. All right, so
right,
we never got your motion seconded, and you are withdrawing that. That's fine. You can just do that. I have one other question, and that is about locating an outreach voting place near the university area. Was that considered?
Sharon, would any of those areas be available for an outreach?
Okay, I can check. I can have Ms. Clark check right now. Let me get back with you shortly.
Okay.
Yeah,
we can add an outreach somewhere as well if somebody would like to do that. And then we don't usually, I mean, we've usually added the outreach locations outside of the meetings. So
that would and these all look fine, but like my colleagues, I have been burnt at thinking that we had a good array of polling places, and it turned out they were overwhelmed. And I'm thinking of some effort on the campuses to get used to voting by voting in this election. So what I hear from you is that it is unnecessary to approve an outreach location today. Is that correct?
yeah, that's correct. I mean, we can look at the outreach sites. We can look at the campuses for outreach, and then we can let the board know what's available, and then just make those additions.
Yeah, we have an obligation to make public notices of those. So we have time limitations there. Are we within that time frame to get those noticed?
For the early voting sites, we're okay. We're okay with those, especially for like an outreach site. We can do that.
All right. That satisfies me.
Madam Chair, point of information.
Yes.
Director, how many voters do we have that will be affected by this CD5 election, special election?
Hey, Ralph, can you grab that number, please?
Will do. Give me about 5 minutes.
It's 185 precincts and 94 polling places. So that's almost half of the precincts.
Okay. I just assume you've done the math on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are thinking that the turnout's going to be pretty low on this one. So, and for that district, those 6 locations that we looked at, and that, you know, I think there are some budgetary concerns with this special election. And
how many candidates?
There are 7 candidates.
And they're all Democrats, correct?
I'm unsure.
Okay. Kathleen, are you aware, was there any Republican candidate or independent candidate that joined into this particular?
No, it looks all Democrats from.
If I could, this is Dwight. I think there's a libertarian and there is a libertarian on the ballot, at least one.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Dwight. I know I had seen something about a non-Democrat candidate on this. Okay, that cleared that up. All right.
And that in addition is also an independent.
I didn't catch that.
There's Democrat, independent, and libertarian.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
While we await that number from Mr. Jones, how did the Buckhead Library do in handling the volume of votes for the August 11th election?
It was fine. I don't think any of the sites were strained in the August election, and I think part of it has to do with the more sites you have, the more people spread out to those different sites. So having 19, and we're you know, if a library right now, we have the luxury because the libraries are closed, in that we can move into the main parts of the library in many of them. And so for a higher turnout election, such as the November election, we might be able to move around in there. Usually Buckhead Library and OC Library, historically, I think those are the 2 heaviest precinct or early voting sites in terms of numbers. Isn't that correct, Sharon?
Sounds right.
Sharon is muted.
In addition, Ponce Library is also a top hitter.
Yeah, Ponce too. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we've kind of expanded in Ponce because where we used to vote was pretty small.
I have a question. Rick, what turned out to be the highest turnout, CT Martin or State Farm for the August election?
CT Martin, let me see, I'll have to look. CT Martin, I think Wolf Creek had the highest turnout, and State Farm, I believe, was 5th or 6th.
Okay, okay.
I remember that it was right in the middle in terms of turnout.
I have the number of voters in that district now, if you need them.
Yes.
Okay, it's 386,733 active voters.
That's what you would say is about half the number of total voters.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty close. A bit.
Okay, Mr. Wingate, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
So we can get back to you on if there are any outreach site availabilities, if there's any availability in any of the outreach sites that we use in the district, and let you know what's available.
I would appreciate that, but I have to trust you because I was sitting here thinking that the universities might have a big get out the vote effort, but on the other hand, I don't know who's there. And that just seems to be really something where we just have to leave it to you. I assume that if there was a tremendous turnout on September the 8th, that we could have an outreach location put up somewhere.
Yes.
I think, to my mind, that we need to wait for that. All right. If there is no further comment or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the early voting locations for the September 29th special election.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve those 6 locations. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
The ayes have, all opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Now, item number 6 is the approval of polling place changes. And again, Mr. Barron.
Yeah, Nadine is going to handle this. And the other thing that I wanted to announce is that Nadine is going to be promoted to be the elections chief. And so she will soon, as soon as some paperwork is completed, she'll step into that role, work with Dwight through the end of the year, and she'll probably concentrate still on her duties in the warehouse until we can get someone to take over in her position, get that position posted.
Oh, wonderful.
But Nadine is your next elections chief.
Great job. Congratulations, Nadine.
Yeah, wonderful.
Awesome job.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Good
call you more.
news for us. Thank you. Okay.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you. The following precinct changes are being proposed. All locations have been confirmed to be ADA compliant, and all voters will be notified via postal mail. Proposal 5120, precinct 02L1, currently at Piedmont Park, Magnolia Hall. We were displayed during Church of the Redeemer.
You're going in and out on my end.
Yeah, me too. And I think maybe just to preface this too, I think Nadine.
And relocating 12S to Arthur.
Nadine.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit. And so, but one thing that I guess I'll tell the board while you were breaking up is that all these locations, we are adding locations. We're still in the aim of getting up above 210 locations for the November election. So I believe, Nadine, these are 19 additions, correct? And 1 change?
It's 18 and 1 change.
18 and 1 change, 19 changes. So this will get us up from this is going to get us to 192, right?
Correct. And we have additional sites that are being added.
Yeah. And so we'll bring those to either, I guess, ask for a special meeting to approve more additions for November, or we'll see if we can do it at the regular meeting, but I think we might have to call a special meeting. Okay, go ahead, Nadine. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll start over. I only had two that I stated. I'll start over in case you did not hear those. It was proposal 5120 from Piedmont Magnolia Hall to Lutheran Church of the Redeemer. It's precinct 02L1. We were displaced due to COVID-19, but Lutheran Church of the Redeemer has allowed us to return. Proposal 5220, precinct 12S at Watley Library. We're decreasing the number of voters to this facility and relocating 12S to Arthur Langford Recreation Center. Proposal 5320, precinct 04F at Antioch Baptist Church. We were displaced due to COVID, and Center of Civil Rights Museum is allowing us to return. Proposal 5420, precinct 09M at Northwest Library at Scotts Crossing. We were displaced due to COVID from fire station number 28. And we are still displaced, but we're going to take those voters and place them at Springfield Missionary Baptist Church to decrease the number of voters at Northwest Library. Proposal 5520, precinct 09A, also at Northwest Library. We were displaced from Marietta Road High Rise due to COVID-19. We'll be relocating those voters to Bolton Academy Elementary School to decrease the number of voters at Northwest Library. Proposal 5620, precinct 11R at Thurl, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, please forgive me, high school. We were displaced due to COVID-19, and Mount Carmel Baptist Church is allowing us to return. Proposal 5720, precinct EP03B at St. Stephen's Missionary Baptist Church. We're decreasing the number of voters to this location and placing them at Asa Hillard Elementary School. Proposal 5820, precincts FC01 and SC01A, B, and C at Wolf Creek Library. We're decreasing the number of voters to this location and placing them at Westlake High School. Proposal 5920, precinct 12E1, currently at Cleveland Avenue Elementary School. Cleveland Avenue Library the renovations are completed, and we're placing those voters back at Cleveland Avenue Library. Proposal 6020, precinct 12 Ellis and Larry. At Adams Park Library, we were displaced from the Love Center due to COVID-19, and they are allowing us to return. Proposal 6120, precinct 07C at St. James United Methodist Church. We're decreasing the number of voters to this location and placing them at Sarah Smith Intermediate School. Proposal 6220, precincts 06B, 09G, and 09H. That actually is an emergency move for September 29th. We found out that the Fairmont is closing, the business is closing. We'll be relocating those voters to the filing warehouse. Proposal 6320, precinct 04B at Paul Dunbar School. We were displaced due to COVID-19, and we'll be returning to Dunbar Neighborhood Center. Proposal 6420, precinct EP01B at East Point First Malibu United Methodist Church. We are decreasing the number of voters to this location and relocating them to Bowden Senior Center. Proposal 6520, precinct SC18A, B, and C, currently at Welcome All Park Recreation Center. We're decreasing the number of voters to Welcome All and placing those voters at Friendship Community Church. Precinct 6620, proposal 6620, precinct 12J, currently at Cleveland Avenue Elementary School. We are decreasing the number of voters to this location and placing those voters at Roslyn Fan Recreation Center. Proposal 6720, precinct 12F at Dobbs Elementary School. We were displaced due to COVID-19 and are allowed to return to John Berdeen Neighborhood Facility. Proposal 6820, precinct 08L at Cathedral St. Philip. We're decreasing the number of voters to this location and placing them at E. Rivers Elementary School. And finally, the last proposal for today is proposal 6920, precinct 08G at Cathedral St. Philip. We are decreasing the number of voters to the precinct location and placing them at the Atlanta History Center. And that concludes the precinct proposals for this meeting.
All right. Ms. Williams, I see at the bottom of that page that there is a notation of an emergency move. Is that something that we need to know about?
Yes, that will.
Yes, the 6220, it's the same as the one above, but this is an emergency move for the September 29th election. We have to change it now because the Fairmont is going out of business.
So that will be included in any vote for approval that we take. Am I correct?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Board members, any questions or comments?
And Nadine, can you answer also, we had, the last time you and I spoke, I think there were at least 12 other locations pending for that were 12 more additions are pending, correct?
Yes, there's at least 12 more pending, and we should have all those finalized by the end of next week.
Okay.
They include several locations by ourselves and the contractor that's assisting.
And do you anticipate more than 12 pending? That would get us up to 204 locations. Are we gonna be able to get past 210?
Yes, we anticipate more than 12.
Okay.
All right. Board members, questions or comments? And I am not seeing any.
Kathleen here. Just a quick question. How soon will voters get their polling change notification after?
For the precinct that's the September 29th move, Ralph is gonna send out a head of household mailing to those voters. We will order all of the cards, the precinct cards for the remaining locations today. We do that through ElectionNet, and Ralph will get that taken care of today. And those cards are ordered we order those from the state, they give them to us, and then we put them in the mail. It'll probably be and Ralph can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's usually about 3 to 4 weeks to get those cards back.
That's correct, Rick.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I don't have a question right now, but I just want to let you know I'm gonna have to drop off for about 4 minutes and come back, but keep going.
Thank you. We will, but I appreciate that. But stick around for about 30 seconds. And are we ready to, I am ready to entertain a motion to approve the early voting, the polling place changes for the coming elections. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
And a second? All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve these polling facility changes. All in favor say aye and raise your hands as well.
Aye.
Aye. All right, all opposed? The ayes have it. We have those polling places in place for the coming elections. That brings us to the end of the enumerated.
Madam Chair, can I address Mr. Johnson in reference to Evelyn Laurie? I just want to give you an update. It is in CD5, I just confirmed. So I don't want to let y'all know that before y'all leave this meeting today. I don't know if y'all want to go back at it, or should I make it an outreach, or do you want it for the 3 weeks?
I think it'll be great to do. I make a motion to make it for the 3 weeks, Evelyn Lowry.
Okay.
Second.
So this is adding Evelyn Lowry Library as an early voting location for the September 29th special election. Is that correct? Yes. All right. Do I have a motion to add that? Mr. Johnson?
I just made the motion and Ms. Nuridan seconded it.
And she seconded it. All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Thank you all. All those opposed, then we have 7 early voting locations for September 29th.
Thank you.
Then, if,
Thank you, Sharon.
if that concludes our numbered agenda items, we have some need to go into an executive session to discuss litigation, but I need to rely on one of you to make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that this board move into executive session to discuss pending litigation. All in favor say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, so be it. The regular portion of our meeting is not adjourned, and any member of the public watching us may wait for us to come back before we conclude our meeting. I will tell you that it is very seldom that we would have anything of substance to discuss, but it is your right and privilege to wait around for us. And now we will go into executive session and say goodbye, at least temporarily, to members of the public, but asking our lawyers to remain.
Is there, Madam Chair, there is a separate link for us to go into executive session, correct? Or
Yes,
Mrs.
ma'am.
Addison?
Yes, I sent it last night.
Yeah, she sent it yesterday.
All right, so
Okay.
we need to conclude this one and go to the other link.
Yes.
You can actually just call on the phone, it's audio. So if you want to mute this,
Oh, it's only audio.
yes.
Okay. Okay, hang on a minute. Let me make sure I've got that because I saw something. Mariska, did that come from you?
Yes, sir.
I've got so much stuff here. Jeez.
And this came last night.
Yes, ma'am.
From Mariska. And I'm just not, I remember seeing it and yeah, there was a different, oh, maybe it came from Jessica Corbett.
At 7:25 p.m.
Miss Cooney, this is Amanda Clark Palmer. I'm speaking for myself and for Don Samuel. We don't have the information for the other link.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do something here.
It can
Rico or Mariska, can you resend that to Mr. Samuel and Ms. Clark Palmer?
And
Just
and Marissa,
everyone.
it is a Zoom link that you have with
That's true.
telephone.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna just go to that meeting.
Yeah, so I suggest that we close this out and move into the other Zoom.
How do you get back in though to close out?
You can't close out. Just call on the
You're
phone.
gonna be able to
Use the
close.
phone number. There's a phone number and it gives you a password. Just use that to log on and I'll send to the other individuals.
Okay, so I'm going to leave this meeting. Is that correct?
Well, how are you going to actually adjourn it? Because you're leaving it open for the
We're going
executive.
to have to go back into.
Yeah, just click back in.
Right. So, Ms. Bodison, should I leave this meeting now?
Oh, ma'am, just put it on mute and use your cell phone to call the number and put the password in.
I'm sorry, I was muted. You know, then we're going to be being seen while we're talking on this call in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that there's lip readers out there, but you know, I don't particularly care to participate in that.
can't we just close out of this thing and then everyone click back afterwards? I mean, that
Yeah,
the
that's
link
what I
will still be
recommend.
active.
Yeah.
If it's
So
if the
I would
link's still
suggest
active,
I would suggest that we leave this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
then
I'm gonna leave this and get on from the password from yesterday.
okay.
Mr. Samuel and Ms. Clark Palmer, I don't have a contact for you all. Are you all in the Fulton County directory? I can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear you. You can't hear me.
Yes, I can now.
Oh, okay. I put our emails in the Zoom chat function. Do you see
Okay.
it there? Or what?
Okay.
If it would just be easier for me to read it out, I could do that too.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please re-enter your host key followed by pound.
Mariska,
This host key is invalid. You will be placed into the meeting as a participant.
Mariska, you're on mute. You're on mute, Mariska. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
I'm dialing into the numbers that was given. I can't get in. It says I don't have a host key.
One moment.
I think I'll just move along here today. I see Mary Carroll. Mary Carroll?
Do.
Are you, hello? Are
Hello?
you guys still in executive session or are you finishing? I mean,
Just
back
finished
up.
and coming back.
Okay, great. Hello, Mary Carol. Just want to make sure everything's functional on your end.
Okay. You're
Okay,
up.
great. Okay, we're getting ready to start in about 10 seconds.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the resumption of the special called meeting of the Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections for August 21st. And I am rejoined by my colleagues, Mr. Mark Wingate, Dr. Kathleen Ruth, Mr. Aaron Johnson. I believe that we only have 2 more things to do. One of them is, and I wish I also saw Mr. Barron or Ms. Bodison. I do see that Ms. Bodison may be with us, and I see Mr. Barron, that we have the procedure straight for signing the certification paper. Mr. Barron?
Just got in here, so I
Okay.
probably.
I got something from you last night maybe that said that you were going to start from the south end of the county and work your way north?
That's, yeah, Mariska sent that.
Yes, ma'am.
I am somewhat under the impression that Ms. Newridden is not going to sign.
Correct.
Right. So you will start with Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
And you two know how to find each other?
I have everyone's home address.
Okay. All
unless you've moved.
I'm thinking of it, but not today. And when Mr. Barron comes to my house and gets my signature, I will call Dr. Ruth and let her know he's on his way. And we will proceed from there. All right, we got that straight?
Let me unfortunately, I have got other activities that I have got to participate in this afternoon, so I'm not really going to be anywhere available. Do you need my signature?
If Mr. Johnson, Dr. Ruth, and myself can be found, we got it.
That's what I thought.
Okay, thank you.
That'll save Rick a trip clear up here.
Right.
And if Rick could just call, text me on my cell, I'll be in the area of my home. So just text me.
Okay, we'll get in touch.
And
all right.
Mariska, you're going between the houses, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So Mariska.
Okay, that's good to know. I heard something or saw something different last night. All right. So if there is no other business to conduct, is there a motion to adjourn?
So Madam Chair. You didn't come out of executive session. There was no motion to come out of
All right,
executive.
is
Move to come out
there,
of executive session.
Second.
there's a motion to come out of, properly seconded to come out of executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are out of executive session. Thank you as always, Ms. Bodison. Now do I have a motion?
Motion
I
to
had a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn from Mr. Johnson
Second.
and a second from Mr. Wingate. All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for your patience and forbearance.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.